Hello everyone, welcome to my 2024 Makeup for Mature Skin Masterclass. This is the third video in my Masterclass series and my very first one for 2024. If you missed my Masterclass for hooded eyes or my Masterclass for applying false lashes, I will have both of those linked down below in the description box. Today I wanted to go back to basics. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, my name is Risa, and I started my makeup career with Laura Mercier in 1996. So it has been more than 25 years since I started working in the beauty industry as a makeup artist. I was lucky enough to be trained by some of the best in the business, like Laura Mercier, like Bobbi Brown, like Trish McEvoy, and I started my channel about 9 years ago now because I wanted to share all of my tips and tricks with other people in my age demographic. I started my channel when I was in my early 40s. I'm 50 now, I turned 50 in May. I got a little bit of pushback when I would call my videos Makeup for Mature Skin at age 41, 42. A lot of people were upset by that. They would say, you don't have mature skin, you don't have mature skin until you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s. Well, in the beauty industry, mature skin is actually defined as age 35 and up. Now, I didn't start seeing a lot of differences in my skin until my mid-40s. However, some people see huge changes in their skin at age 30 or 36 or not until 50. So this video is really for anyone who is experiencing age-related changes to their skin, and it's making it more challenging to apply makeup. So before I get into this masterclass, I want to tell you that this video is not about products. It's not about pushing specific products on you. I use in the demo portion of this video products that are from the drugstore, some products that are mid-end, some that are high-end, but those products are not necessarily the only ones that I would say are good for mature skin. They're not the only ones I use, they're not the only ones I recommend. Our first topic for this masterclass is skin prep. I am certain that almost every tutorial for mature skin that you've ever watched emphasizes the importance of skin prep. And for your skin prep, it's really important for you to know or recognize your skin type. And as we get older, I know a lot of people say that their skin gets drier, they're not quite as oily. Some people say their skin is still extremely oily, like mine, and others will say that their skin is so dry, it seems like there's nothing that they can do to have their makeup lay nicely on their skin because it's just not hydrated enough, it's just not exfoliated enough. Now, exfoliation plays a huge part in keeping your skin looking clear. It helps with cell turnover. It is an important step to do. I do it mostly at night. So when we're talking about a makeup application, exfoliation is not something I do as skin prep. It's something I do at night, but I don't prep anyone's skin with any exfoliating product before I do their makeup. You do want to make sure that your skin is clean, no leftover makeup from the day before, and I always like to start my skin prep with a serum. When applying skincare products or skin prep products, you do want to go from the thinnest consistency to the thickest consistency. So what I do is I apply a serum. The one I'm using here is from Wet n Wild. It is the Prime Focus Primer Serum. Now, even though I do have oily skin, I find that the serum works really, really well under my makeup. It's not greasy at all. It sinks right in and it works beautifully. It has so far worked beautifully with every product I have put on top of it. Now, of course, you can use whatever serum you would like, whichever one you find works best with your skin type and your needs. Maybe you want to use a serum that contains hyaluronic acid. Maybe you want to use a serum that contains vitamin C. But once you have your serum down, that is when you want to go in and moisturize. For oily skin, you're going to want to use something that's more lightweight during the day, maybe something that has a gel-like consistency. Anything that says water cream or water gel. The one I'm currently using from Summer Fridays says gel cream. This is the type of consistency that you want to use under your makeup. You can use a heavier anti-aging cream at night, but when it comes to mixing products on your skin for skin prep and makeup, you want to make sure that what you're using is consistent with the bases with their bases and that they all work well together. So if you're using a water-based moisturizer or water-based primer, you're going to want to use a water-based foundation versus a water-based moisturizer and an oil-based foundation. So look at the ingredients of everything you're using, make sure they are synergistic. When it comes to eye creams, the jury is still out on their effectiveness. You'll hear some estheticians and dermatologists say that they are formulated differently than facial moisturizers, so they are necessary, but then others will say that you can just use your current moisturizer and bring it up and under and around the eye area. So here are two of my favorites that perform very well under concealer. Then on top of your moisturizer, you're going to want to apply your sunscreen. I've really been loving for the last couple of months this product from Charlotte Tilbury. It is the Invisible UV Flawless Primer, Broad Spectrum SPF 50. I enjoy, like I'm sure a lot of you do as well, a multi-purpose product, a 2-in-1 product. This not only hydrates my skin, it also has that SPF in it, although as you saw, I do use that separate moisturizer and then go in with this. This is basically what I'm using currently for my sunscreen. I also really love this one from Innisfree. It's $16 at Sephora and it's worth every penny. I do believe Revlon makes a Color Stay primer with an SPF 35. So moving into primers, that seems to be a very polarizing topic on social media, especially over on some other platforms like TikTok. I see a lot of makeup artists getting on to their social media pages and saying things like, you absolutely do not need a primer. Skin prep is all you need. I don't use primers. I just use, oil controlling moisturizers, or I use really hydrating creams. And they're not incorrect when they say that, but it is a little nuanced to me. I do believe that if you have dry skin and you're using a really nice hydrating serum and a hydrating moisturizer, you don't necessarily need a primer in addition. For dry to very dry skins who are looking for a lot of glow or to have their skin appear more radiant and glowy, something like the Say Beauty Glowy Super Gel, the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, the e.l.f. dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, these are all products that you can either mix into your foundation or use on their own before going in with your foundation. However, if you have combination to oily skin, perhaps you just have oiliness or large pores through the T-zone, a primer is going to help, and I do find them to make a difference, at least for me and in the past when I worked on clients. I always, if they were oily or if they had large pores and texture, 9 times out of 10, I would apply a primer to their faces. I just got this new one from Estee Lauder. It is the Double Wear Smooth and Blur Primer, and it has so far been working incredibly well. It definitely refines the look of my pores, takes down any shine, and helps to keep whatever foundation I use on top of it more shine-free than it would be without the primer. So primers, yes and no. It depends on your skin type whether or not you truly need one. Moving on to foundation and concealer. Much like with skincare, skin prep, you're going to want to choose a foundation, concealer, and or powder that are right for your specific skin type. For the demo, I chose to use a foundation, an affordable foundation that I think works really well on almost all skin types. This is the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage 24-Hour Foundation. I think everyone but the driest skins is going to really like this product. It offers medium buildable coverage, meaning that you can add a little bit more to achieve a complete full coverage, or you can sheer it out by mixing it in with a little bit of your moisturizer or serum or glow product, like the ones I mentioned in the last segment. Now, a lot of people like to use cream foundations on mature skin, or sometimes even powder foundations. Both of those have never worked for me personally, although I have had success in using those types of products on other skin types and other age demographics. I am well aware that the idea of a powder foundation, or powders in general, scares a lot of mature skinned people. And that fear might be based on what you've heard, or what you've experienced yourself. Some people will go and apply some powder to their face and all of a sudden they feel like they've aged 5-10 years, that the powder makes their skin look more dry, it makes it look flat, and that's not what they're looking for. When you have more mature skin, you want your skin to look as natural as possible while still covering those things you want covered and also giving you that youthful glow that you may have had in the past. That said, if you have a powder foundation that you love, that looks beautiful on you, please let us know in the comments what that is, because I have yet to find a really good powder foundation for mature skin. A lot of people like the Laura Geller powder. It's this one right here. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but I will have it somewhere on the screen. I think it's just her baked foundation. A lot of mature women like that product. And years ago, I did try it, but the issue I've always had with powder foundations, even before I was classified as having mature skin, I did not love them because I felt like they couldn't last. They just didn't last that well on my oily skin. And I still have that problem today. Same thing with creams. Cream foundations can look beautiful on all age skin. You don't have to have mature skin for a cream foundation to look great on you, but you do have to be careful again with the base of that cream foundation, especially if you're going to be using a primer or any sort of skin prep. You want to make sure that you are not using an oil-based cream foundation with a water-based primer or vice versa. So in the past, when I was working as a freelance makeup artist, in my kit, I mostly kept all liquid foundations. I just really like the way that they go on. I like the versatility of a liquid in that you can adjust the color, you can mix shades very easily, and I do find them to be the most long wearing. If you are someone that prefers a cream makeup, here are two that I do recommend. The first one is from Patrick Ta, and the other one from CoverGirl. What you want to do when you're applying your foundation is have the right tools, like a foundation brush, a beauty sponge, and honestly, there's also nothing wrong with using your fingers to apply foundation. Sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I will apply liquid foundation just with my fingers, and then I'll take a damp sponge or brush and just go over it to make sure everything is blended in really, really well. Blending and skin prep are the number 1 and 2 reasons why your makeup will or won't look professional. Now, when it comes to concealers, I like to use a concealer that is 1 to 2 shades lighter than my foundation. I don't want to go any lighter than that because then you will have some reverse raccoon eyes. And I've always felt that if you use an under eye concealer, I'm not talking about concealers for the face right now, but when you're using a concealer for the under eyes, if it's the same tone as your foundation, you're not going to get that level of brightness. And I think after a certain age, we all feel like we need some extra brightness under the eyes, but you never want it to be too bright. My current favorite concealer is this one from Natasha Denona. I also really love the All Hours concealer from YSL. And for drugstore, I really like this one from Makeup Revolution, as well as this one from Catrice. Now, as you saw in the demo, sometimes I do take my concealer applicator and just go right in, place it right onto my dark circles. But other times I like to just take a tray like you saw me use with the foundation. I like to use a metal tray to put a little concealer on first and then take the brush and apply it from the tray versus going directly in with the applicator. I find that you have more control that way. You're going to use less product. That is the way it would be done if you were going to a professional to get your makeup done. They would not go directly in with the wand, the applicator. At least I hope they wouldn't. So if you want your makeup to look really professional and you don't want to be too heavy-handed, I would recommend applying the concealer to the back of your hand or to a tray and then taking a concealer brush and patting out your concealer. And then when it comes to setting your under eye concealer, I love this powder from Charlotte Tilbury. I know I keep mentioning specific products, even though I said at the beginning it's not about the products. But of course, I know that if I didn't at least tell you what these products were that I'm using in the demo, you would be asking me. And while that's good engagement for the video, I'd rather just avoid the same question over and over and just share with you what some of my top picks are, which are the products that I'm using in this demo. So the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Pressed Powder has been one of my absolute favorites for years. Now, there are some mature skins that can get away with using loose powders to set their under eyes or their faces. Those people are like me. They have oily skin and they can handle a lot of powder because the oils will come through and just sort of suck up that powder. And the powder isn't going to make us look flat. It's actually going to help with the shine factor, because at a certain point, glowy can become greasy and no one wants that look. Well, I've seen it before. Some people do. I personally don't, and I don't love it on others. So powders can be tricky, but as long as you're not using a pressed powder foundation, pressed powders like this one from Charlotte Tilbury or like this Maybelline Fit Me pressed powder, they are just going to set your makeup, set your concealer, set your foundation without adding an extra layer of coverage or heaviness onto your skin. What this type of powder is going to do is exactly what the name states. It's going to give you an airbrushed effect. Like if somebody went over your face with some Photoshop or a filter, it's going to diffuse the look of fine lines and pores, in addition to helping your makeup to stay in place throughout the day. Because this is a masterclass and I've done these classes in person before, I know the next question might be, well, Risa, what is the difference between a setting powder and a finishing powder then? Well, first of all, setting powder is going to give you more of a matte finish than a finishing powder. There are finishing powders out there that are more glowy, radiant, whereas setting powders are really going to just lock everything in place. They are meant to take down shine, and it's great for preventing movement or creasing of your makeup throughout the day. And a finishing powder will also set your makeup, but it's also going to give your skin like a softer finish, like an airbrushed finish. So I would call this Charlotte Tilbury powder a finishing powder more so than a setting powder, because this is not going to control oil. It's just going to make it look, as I said, like you've applied a filter to your face. And with a finishing powder, you're typically only going to want to apply it to key areas of the face, whereas with a setting powder, you may be applying it to the entirety of the face. So the main differences between a finishing powder and a setting powder are texture, weight, and tones. Setting powder will be a little bit heavier, and finishing powder will be a little bit more finely milled and weightless. Now it's time to talk about brows. You might be one of those lucky people that already has beautifully shaped, full brows. But as we get older, not only the hair on our head tends to disappear, but our brows tend to disappear. I've never had good brows. I've always had very light, blonde, sparse brows. So I've been filling mine in for ages. But luckily now we have so many more options out there for natural looking brow products. Brows, if you've ever gotten your makeup done or if you've ever watched a professional makeup tutorial before, I'm certain that you have heard the phrase, well, two phrases. One, brows are the picture frame of the face. And two, they are sisters, not twins. Meaning if your brows aren't perfectly even and symmetrical, don't worry about it, because nobody's ever really are. Now, when it comes to brows being the frame of your face, that applies to everyone. Brows are so important. And once more, if you are someone who already has really great full brows, you keep them nice and tidy, you get them waxed or you tweeze them yourself, that's great. But if you have those kind of brows and you don't keep them in good shape, you've never gone and found out which brow shape is best for you from an esthetician, brow waxer, then I highly recommend doing that, because brow shape can change everything. There is a filter over on TikTok that allows you to change your brow shape. It shows you what you would look like with different eyebrow shapes, and whoo, it is eye-opening. Not only are there filters that show you different brow shapes, but there are filters that show you guides to the placement of your brow. Basically how to arch and groom your brows yourself. And the way I've always taught people to do their brows is to take your brow pencil. My voice is a little scratchy, I'm sorry. And you're going to want to go from the side of your nose straight up and then make a little dot. And that's where your brow is going to start. As you can see, that is where mine starts. And then you want to go from the side of your nose through the center of your eye, and that is where your arch should be. And that is indeed where my slight arch is. And then you want to go from the side of your nose, let me get my hair out of the way, the side of your nose to the corner of your eye, and that is where your brow should end. And then you will have your perfect brow shape. Moving on to contour, bronzer, and highlight. These are not essential steps in most mature women's daily makeup routine. If you want to throw a little bronzer on for color, by all means do it. I do, in my everyday makeup, like to contour just a little bit. I like to contour my cheekbones, I like to contour my nose, and what you want to use is a very creamy, blendable, user-friendly product in the correct tone. And I've got to tell you, there are so many fantastic, absolutely fantastic cream bronzer sticks and cream bronzers just in general on the market. This one that I'm using here in this demo is from Merit Beauty. I love it for just really how creamy it is. It's super easy to blend. The color is great. I've heard incredible things about the LYS Beauty Contour Stick. A lot of people will use a stick foundation, like the one from Bobbi Brown or the one from Hourglass, as their contour product. You just want to make sure that you're using the right tone. Contour products should be more neutral to cool, whereas bronzing products should be more neutral to warm or golden. You want it to mimic the look of how your skin would react if it were in the sun, if you got a little bit of a tan. Whereas contour and highlighting is all about playing with light. You place your contour through here because you want to make your cheeks look more prominent. And then highlight we put, in areas like here and here and here because we want to draw light to the face and again, make those areas look more prominent. And highlighter, while I didn't use any in this demo, can just be absolutely beautiful. The reason why I didn't use any highlighter in this video is because, as you can see here, I did go in with a very glowy blush. You can use either a cream blush that has glow to it, or you can use a powder blush that has a little bit of a glow to it in lieu of a separate highlighter. I think if you're trying to simplify your makeup routine, simplify your life, going with a glowy cream blush or powder blush is your best bet. I've really been loving these soft pop plumping blush veils by Makeup by Mario. They are very beginner friendly and they just make your cheeks look so youthful. Okay, I think I've done this video out of the order that I applied the makeup in the demo because I recorded that first. I wanted to do the video this way versus just talking while I demoed because I find that this way I'm certain to get everything. I can make a list and be sure that I hit all of those bullet points that I want to share with you. Versus if I'm demoing and talking at the same time, I'm more likely to forget something. So I apologize if this video is out of order, but let's talk about eyeshadow. One of my favorite things to recommend to people of a certain age are cream shadow sticks. I personally was late to the game, late to the party with these. There are so many excellent long-wearing eyeshadow sticks on the market right now. That was honestly one of the main reasons why in the past I hadn't used a lot of stick eyeshadows. It's because they just weren't long-wearing. Even with an eyeshadow primer beneath, I found that they just disappeared too quickly. But I've really been loving these eyeshadow sticks from Rare Beauty. I have a couple from Nude Sticks that I just adore. I find them very, very easy to use, very easy to blend, and you can be one and done. However, if you do want to have a really great everyday eyeshadow palette, one powder eyeshadow palette that I pretty much have recommended to everyone for the past several years is this Tartelette in Bloom. As you can see, mine is very well loved, and why I recommend this palette so often is because of a couple of things. You have every color that you need to do a daytime look or a nighttime look. All of the shades to me are quite neutral. You've got a lovely combination of mattes and soft shimmers. These are not glitters. They aren't going to fall down onto your face like little glitter particles can, or it's not going to be a problem if you wear contacts. These shimmers are just so beautiful. The formula is great. I'll be honest with you, not all Tarte palettes are this good of a quality as far as the blendability and the pigmentation of the shadows. I just really enjoy this palette, and as I was saying, it's great for a beginner, it's great for mature skin. It's not going to be as confusing as if you went and purchased a 12 or 15 pan palette that had just a wide variety of colors. Now, I do not want anyone out there to think that I am 100% opposed to colorful, bright eyeshadow looks on mature women. If you are new to my channel, something I always preach, whether it comes to makeup or fashion, I want you to wear what you love and what you feel good in. So if you're 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old and you want to wear bright purple eyeshadow with some purple glitter on top, I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I'm going to let you rock whatever look you enjoy, whatever makes you happy. Life is too short to have people telling you what they think you should be doing with your face, with your makeup, with your clothing. I am 1000% a live and let live person. So getting back to this Tartelette in Bloom palette, I highly recommend it if you would like to have a good powder palette in your everyday makeup drawer. But again, cream eyeshadow sticks, if you're a beginner, I highly, highly recommend those. I know I've already said this, but even as a 50-year-old, I enjoy a little shimmer on the lid. And the shimmers in that Tartelette palette, again, are just very smooth. They are almost like diffusing in that they don't accentuate crepiness on the lids. So that's a personal preference. If you have really, really crepey hooded lids, you might not want to put a shimmer. You might want to go for an all matte eyeshadow palette. And I will have in the description box, or maybe I'll even put on the screen, some all matte eyeshadow palettes that I recommend. And I will never, well, it's very, very rare that I will ever on my channel use or recommend a very large palette, because I think simplicity is key. You don't want to be overwhelmed with the amount of shades in a palette. While they look so pretty in the store or online, or when a 20-something is using them to do a complete glam look, we can all be very drawn to that and think, ooh, that's so pretty, I want that. But we have to live in the reality that our eyes a lot of times can't handle all of that. Or maybe we just don't want to take the time to try to figure out a palette. And sometimes they do take figuring out. So if you just want to simplify your makeup routine, or you're a beginner, then I recommend going for a smaller palette with maybe at the most 12 shades. But I personally tend to avoid any eyeshadow palette that has more shades than that, because even as a makeup artist, those can overwhelm me greatly. Let's talk about eyeliner and mascara. I put up a video recently, I think it was about a month or so ago, talking about makeup techniques that can age you and techniques that we're going to leave behind in 2023, not take with us into 2024. And one of those things was harsh eyeliner. Harsh liner, especially on the lower lash lines. What we are going to do as a woman with mature skin, with mature eyes, we are going to just softly, slightly add a little bit of color to the lower lash lines. We're just going to smudge something out very, very softly. And if we want to have eyeliner on the upper lash lines, the best way to do that is to take a tiny, tiny eyeliner brush and just press and wiggle a dark shadow at the base of your lashes. That is something I learned working for Trish McEvoy back in the late 90s. She had this press and wiggle technique. She had this flat top brush, much like the one I'm using here. We would give our clients a hand mirror. We would tell them to put their chin up, look down into the mirror, and then we would take that brush and just show them how to press and wiggle at the base of their lashes. This is an especially good technique for anyone that has unsteady hands, because what you can do is you can plant your elbow on a table, take that hand mirror, and then use your hand like this. Just press and wiggle and press and wiggle while your arm is resting firmly on the table and not moving around. I also highly, highly recommend a magnifying mirror. 10 times magnifying, 20 times magnifying. I wouldn't do 30 times magnifying because I have one of those and it's kind of scary. I use it for my eyes only. And even then, it's almost too close up. It's great for tweezing your brows though. When it comes to mascara, I definitely recommend finding one that gives you a ton of length and or volume, which is not that easy to come by. Sometimes you've got to use two. Very few mascaras give you both length and volume. I tested out this Clio mascara for the first time doing this demo. It's called Kill Lash, and I was blown away by the length this mascara gave me. It doesn't give as much volume as one might like, but you can go ahead and use a volumizing mascara first and then apply this Kill Lash mascara or a similar mascara that gives just a ton of length, and your lashes are going to look pow. You want your lashes to pop. I'm not personally a fan of real big lash extensions or real big false lashes. I love false lashes. If you know me at all, you know I love false lashes, which is why I have my own style of lashes with BK Beauty. I love lashes. I like a corner lash. I like a full strip lash. I like a cat eye lash. I like individuals. I like clusters, because I do not have very nice lashes to begin with. And I've tried different serums and Basically, I need a good mascara and or some good falsies. But if you already have lashes that have a ton of volume but not so much length, then I would recommend the Clio mascara I used in this demo. The length it gives is truly unbelievable, and I do like it for applying a little bit to my lower lashes. I don't like the look of real spidery lashes, but again, when I say I don't like something, that doesn't mean I don't think you should continue to do it if you like it. That goes back to what I said moments ago. I don't believe in rules when it comes to makeup, and that is something that was ingrained in my brain when I worked for Bobbi Brown in the 90s. She always, whenever she ran a class, a training for us, she said there are no rules in makeup, and I will forever stand by that. We are not going to judge people for what they like. Even though we don't like it and we wouldn't do it ourselves, let's let other people wear what they like. So yes, when it comes to lower lash mascara, I like to do just a little bit because my lashes are blonde and it just gives my lower lash line a little bit of definition, but we're not doing anything harsh, or we're going to try it out if you're someone who loves your dark black or blue or brown liner along the lower lash lines. We're going to try to maybe soften that a little bit. Just give it a try and apply just a tiny amount of lower lash mascara, maybe even choosing a brown shade over a black. All right, let's talk about lips. Probably my favorite category after blush. I love blush and lashes and lips. Now, for lips, I know a lot of people don't like using lip liners. You remember back in the early 90s, a really dark lip line, and you're just not a fan. And that's absolutely fine. Lip liners can serve another purpose aside from just making your lips look bigger or adding some contrast. They really can help reshape your lips without necessarily having to overline. And they also can keep your lipstick or gloss from moving and settling into any fine lines you may have around the mouth. Even if you don't have fine lines around the mouth, sometimes glosses can just migrate and it's not a cute look. So a lip pencil will help to keep everything locked into place on your lips and not on your cheek or your chin or somewhere else. I personally like to choose really creamy formulas. I recently got this one from the brand About Face at Ulta Beauty. It's called Cradled, and it just goes on so nicely. I also like the Makeup by Mario lip liners, the NYX retractable lip pencils. I find the NYX pencils that you sharpen to be a little bit hit or miss. Some shades are very creamy, others tug a little bit, but you really can't beat the price. The price is so good with those NYX liners. However, this About Face liner was $12, I think. And don't discount beauty supply stores for lip liners. I recently went to a local beauty supply store here in Vegas and picked up some fantastic creamy lip liners for $3 each. And when it comes to lipstick, you want to look for one that when you apply it, it gives a smoothed out look to your lips versus accentuating every line and making your lips look dry. Another recent discovery of mine are these new lip velvets from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So they had to be a recent discovery because they were only launched recently. And I only have one shade so far, but I am ordering 2 more today. Now in the comments of that video, some people said that they also loved, for smoothing their lips, the Anastasia Beverly Hills satin lipsticks, as well as the Makeup by Mario satin lipsticks. Some other personal favorites when it comes to lipsticks are these from YSL. I also really like glosses from City Lips and the lifter glosses from Maybelline. And I know a lot of you hear that when it comes to mature makeup, matte is where it's at when it comes to eyeshadow and lips, but I find that shine on the lips makes them appear fuller and more youthful. No, you don't have to look like you just ate a bucket of fried chicken if that's not a look you want. I happen to love a glossy lip. 9 times out of 10, if I apply a lipstick and it's matte, even though I might like the way it looks, I just can't help myself. I will put a gloss on top. And you don't have to put a lot. You can just put a little dollop right in the center of your lips. The gloss I used today is from Lawless. This is the Forget the Filler gloss. It's a little bit of a heavier, stickier gloss, but it does really smooth out your lips. Oh, the Lawless lipsticks are very good as well. And this offers plumping without any pain, in my opinion. There are some plumpers on the market that do cause a real intense tingling sensation that almost borders on painful. And I know just a lot of people, I don't love that either. But this one, even over lipstick, you can feel it a little bit, but it's not bad at all. And the shade selection of these Forget the Filler glosses is amazing. And I recently, and also that testing hot new makeup video I was just telling you about, I tried this new lip oil from Too Faced. It's the Kissing Jelly Gloss, which I said in that video, and I'm gonna say it now here. It looks like makeup you bought as a child or you would buy for a child, but this gloss is so nice. I'm ordering another one of these too. It's so smooth, it's not heavy, sticky, tacky. It's so nice. Once you've completed your makeup, I recommend going in and using a setting spray or a hydrating mist. This one from e.l.f. is great. In the demo, I'm using a matte setting spray from Milani. Some of my other personal favorites are the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I also like this one from One Size. This Caudalie spray is amazing. I used to spray this on my clients after I did their makeup, and it was like their favorite part of the makeup application. They just loved the way it smelled, they loved the way it felt on their skin, and they would just say, spray more, spray more. And then after your setting spray, you are done. As I believe I said, or I hope I said at the beginning of this video, or towards the beginning of this video, this was a masterclass, step by step, how I would do somebody's makeup if they were coming to me for an event. These are not steps that you have to do every single day. Most of the time I do all of these steps, but after a lot of practice, it's going to take you less and less time to do each of these steps, to perfect each of these techniques, or to find the products that truly work best for you and not just because they looked good on another influencer or makeup artist. Always pay attention to who you're listening to. Are you taking skincare advice from someone with oily skin when you have very, very dry skin? Or are you taking makeup advice from someone who is 20 and has oily skin and you are 60 and have dry skin? I think most of you, if not all of you, are smart enough to know that. But again, with a masterclass, I like to cover everything and just assume that there are people watching that really don't even know the basics of makeup. So hopefully, no matter what level of skill you are at, no matter what level of knowledge you have when it comes to makeup, I hope that you did find this video helpful. And if you did, I really appreciate you giving it a thumbs up. Perhaps share it with a friend you think might enjoy it and learn something. Please leave me any questions you may have in the comments. I will try to answer as many as I can. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I hope that you will consider doing so. All you need to do is hit that subscribe button and you will become a part of the Risa Does Makeup family. We would love to have you. So that'll do it for this one. As I mentioned, all of the products will be listed and linked down below in the description box, but it's not about the product, it's about the technique and everything that you heard today in this video. I hope it helps, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.